Hi all. I just had to have a look back, check where I'd left things there. I believe the Japanese just played a weather card on that last Allied turn. So I think that's on my Japanese card. They play a card number 3. So we're getting through the book. There's only like 2 and a bit pages to go. So, and then I might have to start making some decisions for myself. Which, somebody commented on one of the videos, and I think I said to them I think it could make or break me with this game. The fact that trying to make, some of these decisions that you have to make, as in there's not an AI sort of option. Some of these things you've got to choose by yourself, which isn't really the way I like to have things, but I understand why it's like that in this game. And I might have went over that before. And the other one though is I'm reading this out this playthrough example of play. So I mean I'm just moving units about to what it says. Yeah, I might have actually said this last night, hadn't I? I think I possibly have. So once I've got to start doing that for myself, it'll be interesting to see how much a mess I make of things. But I certainly want to give it a go. So on to the next card play. So it's card number 3 for the Japanese. So back out with that, it's just a determination, still in the opening phase, of course. So A says, are Allied HQs in the Philippines, DI and Malaya out of supply? Well, they're not, are they? ABDA hung on in there, didn't it? So I think we're going to go back and have another bash at that. My guess would be. So yeah, that's a no. So then C plus D, does Japan have 3 or more cards? It has 4, so that's a yes. Does it have 13 or more resources? Does Japan control less than 13 resources? Yeah, I just jumped down to E there accidentally. Oh, well, that one's less than, that one's more than. Yeah, that's the one I just read there accidentally. So C plus D is a yes. So back up to F. Is a logistics valuation 20 or more? Yeah, we decided that at the beginning, it was 28. So that's a yes. So aggressive air superiority strategy again. And then neutralise Allied HQs yet again. This is the first priority we're going to use on this card play, and it's the ABDA HQ, which is because it only chooses a 0.5x result, and we rolled a 0.25x result on the dice. It was able to hang on in there. However, if we rolled, oh no, of course it's still going to choose 0.5 on the actual reduced unit now, isn't it? Interesting. Okay, so that's our main priority. So that's our target. And then we need to find out what card we're going to use. So just double checking things there. That's determination, air superiority strategy. Since ABDA was not cut off from supply because of the poor Japanese air naval combat role in the previous offensive, the Erasmus strategy hasn't changed. So, card selection. So I think this is where things started getting a bit more interesting for me. Not that it's not been interesting up to now, it's been good, and also where I had my slight problem in understanding this. Now, maybe it might just click here, but if not, hopefully some of you, anybody that's watching, can put me straight, because I asked the question and I got a response from somebody. However, it didn't really fully answer what I was asking, so I added that, but he's never ever came back. So sometimes when you answer a post and you just leave it at that, if you don't subscribe to it, you maybe not see it again. However, it could just be he's not got back to me yet. Anyway, we will see, and maybe I can get more used to understand or explain to me where my thinking's going wrong. Anyway, so A, have any cards been played this offensive phase? No, they have not. So Sort of cards. Okay, sorry, I'm still getting that one wrong. I'm thinking where we are. Although, did I not answer that? The offensive. Right, hang on just a second. Let's just get this straight. Okay, yeah, I'm getting a bit confused. Let's just jump back to the allied card selection here. When we looked at allied cards. Now, it's the same question for A. Have any cards been played this offensive phase? And I had said yes at first, but then the playthrough says no. So I'm looking at where offensive phase is, and that's 4.2 in the sequence of play. And then within that offensive phase, it goes right through it, and then after it's completed, the players reverse the roles, and the new offensive player starts with the next play. And then the segment ends when everybody's played all their cards. So that offensive phase, that should have been a yes. That should have been a yes answer then, surely. But you know what? We hadn't sorted the cards yet that time. But we played the Arcadia card. I mean, it brings you. I mean, if a card's not been played, it goes to sort the cards, then brings you back down to L and M. So it's probably irrelevant. And then if you just go A and yes, there has been a card played, it goes down to L and M because the cards have already been sorted. And well, that time we hadn't actually sorted the cards because we played the Arcadia card. But there had been a card already played in that offensive phase, so that should have been a yes, I think. Or should the Arcadia card, when we played that, should that have been when we sorted the cards? Yeah, it doesn't really say that. It just kind of says play the Arcadia card, and then it gives you the places where you would put it. Okay. Right. So yeah, the offensive phase just keeps cycling. Once a card's played, say the Japanese start, which they do, then they're the first ones to play a card. So then the Allies would then play a card in the offensive phase, and then it keeps going back and forward. And that offensive phase stays active until everybody runs out of cards. So as soon as the first Japanese card is played and at the very beginning of the offensive phase, then this A question should always be a yes, and it should always be a yes for the Allies too. But for some reason on the playthrough there it said no. In fact, there you can see it just there. That was it there. There's the Allies, whatever they decided they were going to do, and then card selection, A, has a card being played this offensive phase? No. And then it sorts the cards. But admittedly, I hadn't sorted the cards at that time. Oh. Okay, maybe I'm overthinking that one. Anyway, the answer to A here is yes, clearly, because a card has been played. Right, get on with it then, Grant. So down to B, does the hand currently hold more than 2 cards? Yeah, we've got 4 cards. So yes. Is this the very card to be played this game? No. So down to E. Is there an unrestricted military event available to play? Well, this time no. And this is where it starts throwing me a little bit. So, E, is there an unrestricted military event to play? Well, no this time. So E comes down. And this is maybe something to do with these 2 boxes here and the note 2. So it jumps down to F, and F's got a note, number 2, and that's down here. And it says, for the purposes of these evaluations, the card Operation MI, which is one of the cards that we have in the Japanese hand, should not be considered unless the Japanese Erasmus is still in the opening phase axis of determination, which it is, and the strategy is Central Pacific or defensive perimeter. or it's the only remaining military event card available to play that can fulfill the objectives. Well, we are not in Central Pacific or defensive perimeter strategy. And we are in the opening phase still, but we're not in one of these strategies. So it doesn't want to play, and we've also got another military event card in our hand. So that means that it doesn't want to play Operation MI. And I think that's because it's a really good card, and it's a card that probably should be kept. You would probably want to keep it and maybe put it in the future offensive. So I think. Okay, so that's the wee note, and you'll note that that applies to both F and G there, that note. So what is F anyway? So F is there a restricted military event available to play? And the answer to that is yes. Now, if the answer to that had been no, it would have looked at the non-military event OC strategy, which would have picked the card with the highest operation cost value, right? And that would have been a non-military event card. It's got a 3 here. And the wee 3 note, I know I'm looking at that, I'm just trying to work out if this is where I'm maybe getting my thinking wrong. That says use the first card in the sorted order you perform for the cards at the beginning of the offensive phase. Non-military event OC strategy. Of course, that means you've got to not have a military event card in your hand, Grant, so you're never going to actually reach that part. Okay, so let me bounce back to that. And F says, is there a restricted military event available to play? And that answer is yes. So then let's go to the same note 2. So, and then G is, do all available military event card restrictions prevent the attack or capture of the chosen objective? Right, let's go and look at the cards for a minute. Okay, so there's the 4 cards in our hand, but we're still considering military event cards. So let's just focus in on the 2, rather than worry about the political cards. Right, so, and then with that note, because we've got another military event card, because we're not and although we're still in the opening phase of Axis determination, we're not in Central Pacific or defensive perimeter strategy. Because we're in, what were we in? We are in aggressive air superiority strategy. So we're not in that phase. So, and like I say, there is another military event card, so it does not want to play this card. Okay? So, and then, yeah, I think I'm not getting this right because we're not interested in these 2 cards, are we? Because I'll get to it in a second. I'll get to where my problems start. So the question here is, do all available military event card restrictions prevent the attack or capture of the chosen objectives? Well, remember, we're not using this one. So what does this do? It says only Japanese ground units may be activated. This is a restriction on this card. I mean, the other one wouldn't help us either, because it's all battles must be fought in 1 hex islands. Now, what we are trying to achieve here is isolating ABDA. So, and by that, what we mean is we need to take this Dutch air unit out because it's got an air zone of influence, keeping the ABDA HQ in supply. So, with that in mind, we need an air naval attack to attack that air unit. So a ground unit, only Japanese ground units may be activated. That's not any good to us. So the answer to G is do all available military event card restrictions prevent the attack or capture of the chosen objectives. The answer to that is yes, they do. This is going to prevent the chosen objective, which is to isolate the ABDA HQ. So with that in mind, then that takes us on to this final box, which says restricted event OC strategy. And it's the same note 2 regarding the Operation MI card, right? So restricted event OC strategy. Yeah, you know what? I'm overthinking this. I'm seeing it already. There's a box there that says restricted military event. No, it's not EC strategy, Grant. It's OC strategy. There, it's there. Right. Restricted military event OC strategy. I mean, it tells you right there, Grant. But when you read this box, so this is where my confusion's come into it. But what I'm thinking is, I'm overthinking this. This is telling you that you're using a military event card. We've only got 2 military event cards in our hand, right? They're both restricted. One of them is a special note to say that we can't play it. So it's clearly got to be the other one that we use. But where my thinking went all to pot was this criteria box. It says criteria, pick the card with the highest OC value unless it's a military event and there are non-military event choices. Any value, randomise OC card. So I think this is where it, right, well, what does this mean? That's what I need to know, guys. What does this mean? Because that got me looking at all the cards, right, and saying, that got me looking at all 4 cards. Well, sorry, in actual fact 3, because I know there's a note that's saying that we can't use this card. So it got me looking at these 3 cards, and it got me wondering why we weren't playing this card, because it's got the highest OC value. I just couldn't fathom it out. Because why is it talking about non-military events there? I mean, these are non-military events, aren't they? Why is it asking about that there in that criteria? Oh, that's a bit that threw me. But I mean, the heading to that is a restricted military event OC strategy, which tells you you're using a military event card, which happens to be restricted. But then why does it tell you this? What does that mean? That's a bit I need the answer to, guys. Okay, which that ends up meaning is we would be picking the Colonel Suji card. Because if that is the right thinking, then we're not even looking at these 2 cards. Just get them out of the way. We're only looking at these 2. This one's got a special note saying we won't play it if there's another option. This is the only other option. So this is a card that's we're going to play. So, and yeah, once I read through this and I found out that was a card, I scratched my head for a while. Just couldn't quite work it out. But so let's just double check how the play shoe is looking at. So there's the card selection options. It does come to restricted event OC strategy. And that's exactly where we came to. So, and then this is quite interesting, this section here that the designers put together. So it says, in reading through the notes, Operation MI has special considerations that restrict its selection at decision point F and G. So the card selected this time is Colonel Suji. Okay. Again, somebody please explain to me that criteria, because I don't know why that's there and why that comes into it, and it just confused me. But it can only be used as an OC here because the card restrictions would prevent it from being able to capture Chap. Yeah, so we can't use it as the event because it's not going to do us any good. So all we're going to be able to do is use it as the OC for a 2 and still we should still be able to achieve the attempting to isolate Abda. So, but here's the other bit. This is quite interesting. So let's pause a moment here and consider what Erasmus is about to do. Erasmus's strategic objectives are prioritised in a predetermined order of highest importance to lowest, as befitting what are good general guidelines for prosecuting Japanese moves in the opening phase of the game, but without the knowledge of what the cards that actually will do the work of those guidelines will be. So, in other words, Erasmus doesn't know what a powerful card Colonel Suji is when it comes to ground attacks. Yeah, because it says only Japanese ground attacks, and then the bonus is in any ground combat that occurs in Malaya, jungle, or mixed terrain. The duration of the offensive, the final die roll modifiers for the Japan and ground battles is a +4. Wow, okay. So, yeah, and I mean, you can understand that Erasmus couldn't be built to to look at any bonuses on the cards, and you can imagine how, yeah, it just couldn't be done. Maybe on a computer game, maybe, but even then, it'd be far too much. So it doesn't know how powerful card Colonel Suji is when it comes to ground attacks, and it doesn't understand that using it to attack, say, Manila and Kuantan right now as an event play would be a much better use of this card instead of using it as an OC to continue the air campaign against Abda. Yeah, so I was just looking at the targets, and they are further down the sort of selection of, well, Kuantan is actually the first priority in the Malayan surrender, which is the third priority within aggressive air superiority. Just like showing you that there. The third option down is Malaya surrender, but we've not even got Dutch East Indies surrendered, and then the Malaya surrender, Kuantan is the first priority there. And like it's mentioned in there, it would be a really good strategy to consider keeping that card, for the likes of that, to take out Manila and Kuantan. So it carries on. This is a good example of how you, as the player, can help Erasmus make a better choice here. If you so choose, and the CDSS offers suggestions in the introduction and the playing events out of sequence section for handling situations like this when they come up. So I'm going to have a good look at that again before I carry on that part. But yeah, this is another area though where you've got to sort of say, look, this isn't the best play for the AI to take. It would be better to play another card and keep that, But then I suppose then you start going. I mean, the next if you just override it this once, then the next card play we're probably going to come to the. Well, maybe we're not actually. No, that's true. We're not, because if we took out Abda just now, so if we did override it, this decision, and I don't know. Well, clearly doesn't want to play that because again, I think this could be a good card as well. I mean, it's got a logistics value at 8, but all the battles must be fought on 1 hex islands. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a few opportunities there. I don't know. Yeah, the Solomon Islands down there. They're all. Are they all 1 hex islands there? These, like Guadalcanal and New Georgia, Bougainville. Yeah, I guess as they are. Yeah. So using a card like that and then attacking, just strolling into 3 of the places. I mean, I need amphibious shipping points as well. But anyway, so. But I dare say you could override it and just say, well, we'll just play this for the OC value. But would we not consider maybe playing one of these two as an OC? Because all we're playing this for is the 2. That's all we're getting. So it's just the same as playing this card for the 2. Which, yeah, this has its uses, putting them into inter-service rivalry. And obviously this has its uses too. In particular, this is a major one, isn't it? So it knocks it down by 3, doesn't it? Yeah. So that's pretty strong, isn't it? So, but I don't know enough about the game, I suppose, to decide, if we chose not to play this card, what card we would play. But there's nothing to stop you, and I think it's probably the route I would go down until I understand the game more. That I would just do what he decides to do in the end. And what he decides is he just says, having said all this, however, let's stick with Erasmus' plan and proceed to use Colonel Suji as an OC card. So I think my initial plays will be, I'll just bottle out and go that way, and just let Erasmus maybe make poorer choices, because I'll tell you what, my strategies are probably going to be horrible anyway. But I can understand that once you start getting the grip of the game, then you can say to yourself, well, that's stupid. That's silly for him to use that card. It should clearly use that card and carry on. But anyway, I thought that was good that it was put in like that and explained. And yeah, I'm going to look back on about the playing events out of sequence section, to make better choices in that, and see if it gives any more help regarding what card you would maybe pick there. So we are going to indeed pick Colonel Suji as a card. So, but remember this time, none of this part's applicable. Yeah, I'm assuming. I was going to say, how do you pick an HQ? I said, do you use this? But no, I don't think any of this is relevant. It's only the two there, and obviously this 4 matters as well. Yeah, I'm assuming if you pick a card for an OC, then you can use any HQ. Yeah, I'm going to go with that just now, if I happen to find. Yeah, how would you decide? Yeah. So yeah, my guess would be that because we are trying to get to Abda, then the South HQ is going to be the best option again. I mean, the combined fleet one's a bit too far away, and then obviously South Seas is over here, and we've got enough units, like it said before. We've got some air units over here already, so that's the one to go for. So we've got I forgot the name again. What was that? I'm gonna have to look. I just keep forgetting that word. It begins with an E, doesn't it? That's annoying. Right, so we've got a 1 from that. And obviously we're just getting the 2 from this time. And like I say, nothing else on that card comes in it apart from that OC4. That would be the reaction number that the Allies need to roll, that or less. Is it that or less? Or is it less than? I think the special reaction was definitely less. Right, I'll double check that when we get to it. So we've got 3 activations only for this, and what was it, a 0.5x result. So let's just have a look at this before we carry on, see if we can work this out right. This was my intention to be doing it this way, and I just carried on, sometimes reading. So this time we need 9 points of strength, and it's reduced this time, so we only need 9, but however the requirement is it's looking for a half result, so we actually need to double that to 18. So we need 18 strength, but as you can see, one of these air units up here, one of these elite air units would be enough to fly down and take care of that. We have possibly got a carrier still in here, haven't we? Yeah, well, in fact, what did I say, 18 we needed? Yeah, well, we would need more. We would need more than just that carrier. Okay, well, let's go through the task force composition and see what we get at. So A, is this an air naval attack on the target? Yes, it is. Air raid, and then activate units for the target. Notes 3 and 4 tell you about the damage level, etc. And remember, I noted that if you can't get to the damage level, you just bring along as much as you can. Air raid says the force needs to be air, naval and carriers, and then when choosing, pick enough units for air parity. Which doesn't come in. The Allies don't have enough air units, I think, to matter with that. The first, it's to do with balancing out the amount of air units you've got in the battle to make sure that, yeah, I think if you've got less than the opponent, then it causes you some grief somewhere. Okay, so let's go and see. Well, again, I'm just going to follow what the Erasmus is going to do. Well, or could we make a decision here? Could we try? I mean, straight off, I could activate this air unit here, fly it down to Palembang, and then it's 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on, that would be extended range, Grant. Okay, so that would be halved. Well, you know what? I could activate that air unit, and I could activate that carrier. I don't need to move the carrier. Fly that guy down to there. I've got 11 strength from that, and I've got 14 from that. That would be 25. And that would just be activating 2 units. And we needed 18 strength. So, yeah, there's my dodgy strategy about how to do it. So let's actually see how the professionals do it. Okay. So task force composition against Chilak brings us down. Well, actually, it's jumped all the way through there to move and activated units to the target. So it's fine that it's just trying to move on a bit there. What is K&L again? Can enemy naval or ground units react to the target? Is this an EC offensive? Well, it's not an EC offensive this time, remember. It's an OC offensive. So I suppose the fact... Right, sorry, I'll bring that back in then since it's jumping. So this was K plus L. This is an OC offensive, so... it's because we can't consider performing a smothering attack. And the reason for that is we can only select one battle hex. Very good. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, it's clever when you see that and understand the... Yeah, okay, sorry. Right, so that would be a no, and we're across to M, and M is this the last objective? Well, no, it's not, because if we are activating 2 units here, like I say, is there a way you could activate just 1 unit? Possibly. Well, if it's a no, we're creating a new force for the target, next target. So I think that's going to be the case. Let's again see where we're at. So K&L is a no, M is a no, so it's going to create a new force. But I think we need to read some stuff now, rather than me bring in a dodgy force to take care of this. So South HQ again is the best choice with an OC2. That gives Erasmus 3 activations. Since Dutch air is reduced and with a damage level of 0.5x, Erasmus will need 18 combat factors to attack the target. Yeah, we got that right. However, the notes for activating units indicate we should take into account enemy reaction forces. Assuming Allied Erasmus makes the intel check, CL Dutch, ooh, okay. So... But we can't do the smothering attack. Right, hang on. Okay, I've jumped ahead a wee bit there then, I think. Although we can't do a smothering attack, it doesn't matter. We still need to consider if they are going to react. So where does that come about then? That's going to be in one of the notes. Is it 3 and 4? I think it is. It's in 3, isn't it? Yeah, it's right there. If reaction is possible, take into account enemy reaction forces that can reach the target to calculate the strength required. And remember, because we can only create 1 battle hex, we can't go and pin the... It's talking about the Dutch CL there, isn't it? Don't know, where are we? Yeah, up there, I got it. Yeah. So it's talking about the fact that this could activate, it could activate this Dutch unit, and this Dutch unit could come, plant itself in the hex and become part of that battle. So let's go 8 strength, and we need to hit it first, then we could take out the air unit. So we would need 8 and 9, 17 strength. No. We need 17, but we're doubling that. So 17 doubled is 34. Is that right? Let's see. Back to the play sheet. Oh, I think I'm right. I've seen 34 there somewhere. So just checking back, it needs 18 combat factors, and then it says, however, the notes for activating units indicate we should take into account enemy reaction forces. Assuming Allied Erasmus makes the intel check, which it needs to roll dice, CL Dutch will react to defend. The CL will need to be reduced before we can eliminate the reduced Dutch air unit, adding 8 to the original 9. So with 17 combat factors of defence at 0.5x, we will need a total of 34 combat factors. There we go then. So just jumping back to have a wee look, because obviously my plan about this unit and the carrier was now not going to be enough. If it needs 34, you would kind of think that hang on. Oh, no. Yeah, we can fly into this hex because we control this now. Okay, so this guy could 2-hop, and he has only got 2 hops, by the way, because the OC value was 2. So he can go 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2 for his second hop. Then he's at normal range. So he's 22 strength. Plus the carrier is another 14. That is 36. And we only wanted 34. So I reckon that's a play now. And that activates the same 2 units, leaving us 1 activation left. Well, let's go and check. Yeah, it looks like it might be. You might say, oh, well, but you've done this already, Grant. And I was like, yeah, well, I have. I can't remember. I can't remember it all. So, and this was part of the reason for doing it again and just getting it to sink in. So let's activate the 5th Air Division. That is that one, yeah, in Kuala Lumpur. And CV Shikaku in Batavia for 36. Perfect. So 5th AD flies to Batavia through Palambang. A battle hex is created for Chilajap. Note this will remove the AZOI over Malaya HQ in Singapore for reaction. Oh yeah, and Malaya, yeah. Yeah, again, moving that air unit down removes the AZOI over Malaya. But it says, but there are no air naval units in its range that it can activate to help in the defence, yeah. But it's something you would need to watch. Moving, bringing something back into supply, and then they react, and then they like scupper your plans by moving a naval unit or an air unit. So, yeah. Okay, well, let's do that. Okay, so just like I said, this air unit, we're going to activate it, and then we're going to activate Shikaku. And both of them are activating from the South HQ. I'm not going to tilt that again. I do think that is a bit daft. You know where it's coming from. So that knocks our activation down. So we still do have 1 activation. And then this flies down 1, 2, 3. Its first hop into Palambang, and then its second hop comes right into Batavia, is it? And then the carrier just needs to sit where it is. Okay. Good. Yeah, so it says with the last activation, we could just activate another air naval unit to pile on to the attack, or look at unoccupied targets. But you really want to follow the. But it says, but the notes for the DI surrender objective indicate that Batavia should have. Alright, hang on a second. Yeah, I don't know if they're just saying there that you should just do what you think, like pile on the attack just to make sure that we get that in case we get a quarter result again. I'm not sure if it's meaning that, but I'd be inclined to be following what it's saying here. So we've done as much as we can do for Abda, to take Abda out. So then that's us now completed that, well, whether it succeeds or not. But our next target would be DEI surrender. We've done Balikpapan and Tarakan. We've got Batavia, however, this is the bit it's talking about. We'll capture if no other Japanese ground units on Java, but then the note is 6, and this is what it's mentioning here. It says, if already controlled, reinforce the port with up to 3 IGA army steps, otherwise ignore. So, reinforce the port with up to 3 steps. Yeah. So there's only 2 steps in that hex of the ground units. So it's looking to put another step in there. which kind of means you're probably going to activate something and bring it down amphibiously. Well, actually, it's not going to be amphibiously assaulting because we control this now. Right, let's just carry on and see what it says. Yeah, but the notes for the DEI surrender objectives indicate that Batavia should have 3 Japanese army steps in it. So, like I say, it's only got 2 steps. It's got a 2-step unit. So let's activate Core Army in Seoul and strategic move it to Batavia to stage for the eventual follow-up ground attack. And that's the reason for that. So you're putting an extra step in there and then they can attack on the ground rather than try. Because attacking amphibiously, the defender always gets that. What is it? Oh, yeah, no, the attacker loses half his strength. He gets reduced in half. And then I think there's a negative modifier as well when you use amphibious assault. So obviously attacking across land is going to be a better way of doing it. So the Core Army in Seoul and strategic move it. Right, let's just have a double check on the rule for that one then. Okay, so it's picking this army up here as a full army. So yeah, it's quite strong. But if I was left to decide which unit to bring, I'm not sure what I would do. I mean, there's already 2 steps in, so it won't at least 3 steps. But I suppose 4 steps is even better if it brings that one. Whereas maybe I would bring something like that to just have the 3 steps. But then again, yeah, there's a point to this, isn't there? Because it costs you more amphibious shipping points to move a full army than what it does a half army. I think it costs you 2 shipping points to move that and only 1 to move that. However, we're going to be moving this with strategic ground transport. And it says an amphibious assault capable ground unit may move from a coastal hex with or without a port to a friendly port, a distance equal to the distance a friendly naval unit in the current offensive may move. So, oh no, that can't be right. It's only going to be able to move 10 hexes, no? Since a naval unit can move twice its movement allowance if it moves from a friendly port to a friendly port, a ground unit conducting strategic transport that starts its move in a friendly port may also double its movement. Ah, very good. So, yeah, a naval unit moving from there to there, because it's a friendly port to a friendly port, it gets what is that called? Strategic that's called something else, isn't it? Is it not? Strategic naval movement? Could be 8.23. Strategic naval movement. Offensive naval unit only may move twice the movement point value allowed by an offensive if it moves from a friendly port to another friendly port. So yeah, so we're benefiting from that, and because we can do that at double, that then gives that a 20 hex move, which I'm assuming is enough. So we're going to bring that all the way down to Batavia as well, aren't we? There we go. Yeah, very good. So it comes down to there, it's just doing a strategic move, it's not going to be doing any nonsense. And that's our last activation. Okay, so there it confirms it there. Task Force A, 5th Air Division and CV Shikaku attacks Chwatjap and the Core Army moves to Batavia. So let's check for the allied reaction. So the first one, A, are there any special reaction situations? Well, not this time, because we've not tried to amphibiously assault, bring a ground unit on into an enemy zone of influence. So that is what? No. Yeah, B, are there battle hexes? Well, yes, there is one. So, yes, that takes a long to see. Are there battle hexes in range of an in-supply HQ? And that is yes. Because, yeah, Abda's still there. And it's in supply at the moment. So D or E or F. D is an intelligence card available? No. Is a counter-offensive reaction card available? No. Do you have an ambush card? No. So then, if possible, roll for intelligence. So, yeah, I think it's going to jump down and roll for intelligence. So, and the OC value on the intelligence die roll on the card is a 4. So let's just see what happens. It rolls a 6. So we get down to... Oh, that's a pass. So there must be a modifier. There's a -2 modifier because we've moved units into an enemy zone of influence, even if it's neutralised or not. That's what I'm thinking. Let me just double check that one. Okay, yeah, so I'm looking at 7.25, which is offensive intelligence condition determination. It tells you all there about rolling the dice or how you're going to react. There's an A, B, C, and a D, and an E, and it's E that shows the modification. It says there is one way in which the intelligence die roll may be modified. If at any time during the movement of any of the offensive player's units, those units move into, through, or exit an opposing air zone of influence, whether neutralised or not, the reaction player subtracts 2 from their intelligence die roll. And then it says, however, an unmodified die roll of 9 is always considered a failed die roll and a surprise attack result, regardless of any die roll modifier. Okay, and hence the reason that the intelligence die roll needs to be a 4. He rolls a 6, he gets a -2, becomes a 4, so turns it into a pass. Okay, good. Right, and then G was... so yeah, we pass, so we're down to G, and it says, can you meet the reaction force criteria for at least one battle hex? And it said no to that, didn't it? And my guess is that, is there any point bringing that Dutch unit up? It's not going to make any difference. I think that's what that's meaning. Reaction force criteria, what is that about? Oh yeah, this was a bit of a mouthful, this one, wasn't it? But, you're going to see it. It says activate the minimum number of units such that combined air-naval strength is 1 times or more than opposing air-naval strength. Yeah, so I mean that Dutch CL can only bring along 3 strength. So it's not going to do anything. But what if it was going to stop them from taking that air unit out? It doesn't really... does it? What I'm meaning here is, how would we decide? When it was said that, when the question was, can the Allies react to this? And the answer was, well, no, that wasn't the question. It said you had to add enough strength that if the Allies did react, you would be able to deal with it. So, if we didn't do that, let's just say we were playing the Japanese as ourselves and decided, well, I'm going to take a chance here. Why wouldn't that Dutch unit move in if we didn't bring enough strength? And that one, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Other battle hexes. Yeah, so it would still come down to, can you meet the reaction force criteria, which is here. Combined air naval strength is 1 times or more than opposing air naval strength. Well, got to remember the air units in there as well. What is its strength though? It's got a strength of 4, and the Dutch unit's got a strength of 3. But I'm not really talking about strength here. I'm talking about, like, if I chuck that Dutch unit in and we hadn't brought enough strength with us, then it would make... I must be missing something there. I must be missing a step. Because if we decided, like I say, if we were playing the Japanese as a player rather than Erasmus, and I just decided to bring the 22 strength in, keeping our fingers crossed that we got a 1 times result. But the thing is, if they don't bring the Dutch cruiser in, we don't need all that strength. So it must then be going to bring the Dutch cruiser in if we take that chance, surely. You know what? It's probably there. I'm just not seeing it. I just don't really think I'm seeing that there. It talks about its strength rather than its defense or anything like that. You know, it's not. Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? I'll just leave that one for now and maybe I'll look into that a bit more. Well, I'm going to have to, because I'm going to have to find out more about, because, well, just like I've said, if I was to play the Japanese and not use the Erasmus and just take a chance bringing in you would think that obviously it'd be better for them to react in a way to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. Okay, well, we'll leave that for now. So it says no, that there's not a, sorry, and then it goes on H and I, which is no. So G was no, and then H and I, is there a submarine card, is there at least one unit, meets submarine attack, yeah. So that's no, and then it's just execute PBM. Well, there's another one if anybody's watching, just, you know, I'm sure you got what I was trying to ask there about. This doesn't feel like it's telling me that I might be missing something. That feels like it's something simple I'm missing there. So we'll leave it at that, but if somebody knows what I'm going on about, then let me know. So execute post-battle movement if applicable. So Allied Erasmus made the intel check, but the CL Dutch, oh well, maybe, you know what? Oh, excuse me. But the CL Dutch is too weak to allow for it to react in that battle, according to the reaction force criteria in the reaction chart. There are no other units in range, so let's roll out the table, out the battle. Yeah. Yeah, still not feeling like I've got the answer to what I'm thinking there. So, air naval attack into Chilak-Jap. There's no modifiers. The dice roll is a 2 and a 5. Here's my chart here. So we got a 2 for the, is it Japanese first? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, because they're the attacker, aren't they? So they go for. So the 2 is a quarter result. Oh, it's a quarter result again. Does that mean they're failing again? Well, it's maybe not, because the Dutch cruiser didn't come on. So a 2 is a quarter result and a 5 is a half result for the Allies. There's no modifiers like we decided. So yeah, rather than look at things, let's just see. So we were bringing 36. I'm just going to cheat and look at the back of this. 36 quad is 9. So we're dealing 9 damage, which is just enough to kill this, and yet the Dutch cruiser did not come along to spoil that. So if that Dutch cruiser had moved to react, we would have had to hit it, and then the Dutch air unit would have still been alive. Huh. And then the Dutch air unit was getting a half result, so it was dealing 2 damage back, so it was hitting nothing. So this guy's eliminated, and he's got the, oh yeah, by the way, I never talked about this. I mean, yeah, if you're watching this, you probably know these things. The wee yellow dot there means that once these guys are eliminated, they're pre-war units, and they just don't come back. You can't bring them back. I think that's everything that's been eliminated up to now. So yeah, that was interesting. Well, let's go back and see if it finishes off with saying anything. Yeah, so it says Swat Jap 0.25x and then 0.5x. Again, a poor roll by the Japanese, but 36 times 0.25 is still just enough to eliminate the Dutch here. No damage is taken by the Japanese units. Post-battle movement, yes. Air post-battle movement strategy. And looking at the priorities list, 5 ED flies back to Kuala Lumpur. And then the naval strategy, post-battle movement. Again, the best option is the CV Shikaku stays in Batavia, and that is the end of the offensive back to the Allies charts. So I'm going to just stop there though, once we do this post-battle movement. So it's basically saying Shikaku should just stay there. And what I've done, yeah. Put the big guys underneath, really. I should have a wee marker on that though, shouldn't I? See, I'm not even putting them on. Here's me thinking, try to keep on top of that as well, because we've got Batavia now. That's a bit awkward, isn't it? But I guess this is where Vassal shines, isn't it? Ugh. Here's me, I like my counters all tidy. Right, so this is going to fly back to Kuala Lumpur to obviously isolate that, the Malayan HQ again, and then now we have Abda isolated now as well, so it is not in supply. So come the attrition phase, I think it is, horrible things are going to happen to it. Yeah, so a strange finish to that regarding this Dutch cruiser. You know, if you were playing that yourself, because if I had chucked that Dutch cruiser in there, if I was playing it as the Allies myself, then we would still have that air unit in there, I think, because they got a poor die result. So yeah, I'm just not quite sure how that one panned out. Maybe somebody will tell me, or I'll get it. Okay, so that's the end of the Colonel Suchi card. We've done all that. It's going to be back over to the Allies. What happened there? Knocking things about. Siak, what's that? I don't know what I've done there. Where did that come from? I've no idea. I've got an air unit lying about here that I don't know where it's come from. Well, let's leave it there just now. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna pause for now, guys, and then we'll get back with the next Allied play, because that's almost an hour. Yeah. I'm sure you realise how my playthroughs are going to go. They're going to be slow and laborious. And if you like that kind of thing, maybe. I'm one, yeah, none of you had watched the other stuff. I'm a big stickler for the rules. I want to get everything perfect. So you might be thinking, well, this is going to be a challenge for you then, Grant. But yeah, I mean, the two previous games, and also RAF, they are maybe not quite as challenging, but I started with enemy action or then. It's a rules heavy game, and more so about the AI, because it's really, it takes care of everything is dealt with, the AI and the cards and the rules and whatever. So it's a lot to keep straight, but anyway, I don't like making mistakes. That's the big one. Well, I don't mind. This is easy because I'm just following it from what it says in the book. So if there is a mistake, then it's not down to me. Well, it could be, I suppose, if I've not read something properly. But however, right, I'll get away for now, and I'll be back with Allied card play number 3 sometime soon. Okay, cheers.